Hi, this is On Imagination with the Ethical Asshole, and I am your host, the Salty Bitch. So I have been. There's a lot here, and I'm like, wow, how do I unpack this? I don't get friends. I get fans. I have always gotten fans. I get fans since I was 8 years old, and while everyone comes in and they're looking for, well, I'm looking for friends, but I always end up with fans. And the difference between a fan and a friend is a fan is infatuated, hence the word fan, infatuated. Well, I don't know if that's true. I thought it was infatuated, but now I'm going to have to look that up. And they are starstruck. They idolize you. They put you on a pedestal. It comes with a whole lot of stuff that I just don't like. It makes me uncomfortable. And in a lot of cases, it comes with obsession and stalking. Fandom is pure narcissism. It is the I have found my identity. Where have you been all of my life? And they come running toward you. There is a healthy I admire you, but I'm going to keep my identity. Thank you very much. And then there is the I finally found my identity and it's you. And now I'm going to throw myself at you and assume your own face. So when I finished healing, this has been one of those things where when it's around me, I can feel it even more so than I ever have. And I'm very like, keep that away from me. And while I'm doing all of the things I do in life, I also have this, remember, you've got about 3 weeks, and then you start to assume their identity because that's the way words work. It's the way language works. It's the way our minds work. So I am, and I accepted a long time ago that just friends were not something I could have because I didn't understand why. But no matter how many times I put myself out there, I just was not finding people. And for the longest times, I was kind. I was not honest. And what that made it worse. Oh, good God, that made it worse. When I was not honest, what I ended up attracting was a whole lot of people I didn't like. And I ended up attracting a whole lot of people who just fawned over me and they annoyed me. I didn't lay boundaries. They violated my boundaries. I said nothing. This continued for a while. I'm out of a notebook, so I need to get my next notebook. This continued for a while until I would finally reach my breaking point. I would blow up and the fanship would be no more. And that is literally how it goes every single time. That's just the way it is. So I finally got realistic about it and I decided to just be honest instead. So I threw my honesty out there and it's here to stay. I'm not changing that because what ended up happening is my honesty filtered. Oh, wow. It's amazing. My honesty filtered all of the parasites and that's just it. There's parasites and then there's the narcissist slave owner. Those are the people who want to break you. And that's it, really. It really cut down on all the bullshit. So I went from attracting 90% of the attention to about 10%. It was a real shift difference just from being honest. So I'm like, wow, honesty really filters the parasites and the narcissist slave. And I still had empaths. The empaths are the narcissist parasite. I had those coming in still. And these were the people who broke down into one of two categories where they either hated my logic or they loved my logic. They hated my truth or they loved my truth. If they loved my truth, they stayed. And I went, okay, yes, I'm doing mathematical grouping for how honesty affects narcissism. That's what we're doing today, people. This is the grouping in the mathematical flow chart of how honesty affects narcissists. So it broke off into two categories. And one of the categories I noticed was, I love your truth and your logic, but I'm still going to assume your identity. And then the other side is, I hate logic. I'm going to break you to fit my world. Oh, I don't get along with those people. So the hate logic people, they did not last long. And I noticed, I went, oh, truth also gets rid of those people. That's nice. So this is beautiful because it got rid of the parasites, it got rid of the narcissist slave, and it also got rid of those who hate logic. So now I've got this lingering, I love truth, I love logic, I admire you, and I'm still an obsessed fan. And I've never been here before. This is new for me, where I'm like, okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, my radar, my abuse radar is down to a solid week now. This is the second data point where I've got 1 week and my subconscious mind picks up on it. So we've got a match. We don't have a pattern yet. We just have a match. So I'm going, all right. Twice now, my subconscious mind recognizes something, and in 1 week, it flips it over and goes, you need to protect yourself. So my self-preservation kicks on in 1 week. And my self-preservation goes over to anger if the boundaries are not. So this is the order of operations that it follows. The first one is awareness goes up, like it's a heightened sense of awareness. And then I become anger. Like anger is self-preservation. So that kicks on. And after that, I become hostile, where my truth will crank way up. And if I don't say the boundary. So it's like a ticking clock of how long you've got before I'm going to say a boundary. Now, I say a boundary, and if the boundary is respected, the anger goes away. If the boundary is not respected, it comes back like 3 times bad. It's horrible. So and this is definitely a violation. And now I'm at a point when I feel anger, I'm being violated. Where am I being violated? And I couldn't figure out where I was being violated. So this is all like the last 2 weeks. This is 2 weeks of data. So about 3 days ago, I met somebody, and it was the first time in my life I said the word friend. And it was like, oh, this is what friendship is. So it was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing. And I have a whole lot to say on this. Like, I'm going to be building courses on, okay, guys, here's friendship. We got data now. So here's what I've learned. Friendship is understanding. It's understanding. It's pure understanding. It's the phrase "me too," but it's genuine, authentic "me too." It's not and I've assumed your identity, so it's me too. No, it's authentic "me too." It's you have the same passion, the same hobby, and you've chosen the same life path. And you have the same struggles because you're on the same life path. You're on the same victories because you're on the same life path. And there are things you don't have to tell each other because you both are on the same life path and you just know. A friend is the person who has chosen the same life path as you. It's that simple. And if you're someone who hasn't made a choice on your life path, you're not going to find friends. If you're somebody who has not lived life, you're not going to have friends because, well, I guess you could have friends with other people who've chosen not to live their life. So if you've chosen not to live your life and you find a bunch of friends, people who have chosen not to live their life, you've got your people. So I chose a very specific road. Now, there are roads in life that are really not walked often. They are very limited roads. There are some roads where they're very common. There are other roads where almost no one ever walks them. And my road is one that almost no one walks. Which means, and this is a reality that we're not talking about, that if you choose a life path that no one walks, you're screwed. So first you've got the narcissist slave, the narcissist parasite. Then you have the narcissist kumbaya. I hate those ones. Those are the ones who hate logic, and they're yeah. And then you have the narcissist obsessed fan. These are all the people who have no identity, so they cling to whomever is nearest them for the identity. And those are going to be there no matter what. And truth and honesty are the only things that keep them away. So now I'm a huge fan on truth, more so than ever, because I'm like, wow, it's like asshole repellent. Amazing. Which explains now, this explains everything, because liars are the only ones who have a problem with honesty. See, this is making sense now. So I do my honesty, I do my truth. And yeah, I'm seeing it now. I feel like every time I'm honest, every time I set down a boundary, and this is why the narcissist is so toxic, is because when you give a boundary, the narcissist is the one who has a problem with it. They become argumentative. I'm going to tell you right now, the path of the predictability is so predictable that it's already in the narcissist abuse course, where and then they really light up like a narcissist. So first they violate your boundaries. Then you say your boundaries. If they don't respect your boundaries, you say it again. And then they go through this whole aggressive thing with you, where they get angry, they get argumentative, they get defensive, they fight because you're using boundaries. Then they take it personally. They do comparisons. They take the data A, they take their data, and they put it together when it has nothing whatsoever to do with you. I don't know. Can you turn off the heater? So it has nothing to do whatsoever with them. It's all about you, your boundaries. So I had this epiphany, and I was speaking to some people, and I said what I needed to say. And it was just an announcement of, this is an update on me. And the narcissists go, well, what about me? What about my identity has nothing to do with you. And this is it right here, is when you do this with a narcissist, when you give your boundary, because their identity has been assumed by you or by them, because they have assumed your identity, when you change your viewpoint or you move, they don't know where they're going to move to, because they've lost their orientation, because they're you, which is, so then they get aggressive because you're uprooting their identity that's not theirs to begin with. So one of the things that I noticed was definitely the competition, but the value was a huge thing. This blew my mind away. Is we all think in terms of value and worth. And do you know that's slavery, right? You know that's slavery. When you think about what a human being is worth, you've put a value, a numerical value on it. We do that with slaves. And we do this all the time because this is narcissism. Narcissism is slavery. And when you put a value on a human being, I've thought this so many times, I can feel it, and I'm just going to say it. Narcissism is literally the leftovers of slavery in America from 150 plus years ago. It absolutely is. Just because you are legally told you have to release all your slaves doesn't mean the narcissism goes away. So they turn their narcissism and they put it on the society. And I see this over and over again. It's that mindset of, well, I need skills, so I'll have value. No, you're a human being. People aren't property. Did you know? And I the only reason why I know this is because I lived as a slave, literally. So when I left the slave community, I had to heal this shit. And in order to heal it, I had to research human trafficking and the psychology of people who survive it. And I had to get this shit out of my head. So I'm really aware of it. I'm really consciously aware of it. And I have a very clear slave mind over there, narcissism over there, humanity over here. And it's called a humanity mindset. And humanity mindset is not at all about kindness. It's about nourishing growth. It's about knowing that you don't have value or worth because you're priceless. Every one of us is priceless. Life is priceless. All life is priceless. All of life is precious. And once you process this, once you get it, you can see it. And I'm looking at this whole concept of what friend is, and I realized, oh, I don't have friends prior to this person. What I had was narcissists who were using me. I had narcissist students. I had narcissist fans. I did not have friendship. And I came out last night and I just very bluntly said, I'm not having fun here. This isn't fun for me. We're not making jokes. We're not laughing. We're not playing. I'm working. And I said, you go on telling me how great this all is for you, but I'm not. You tell me that you're my friend, but you're my student. It's 10 o'clock at night and I'm having a class that I'm not getting paid for. And I don't even fucking like teaching. I fucking hate it. And I'm not having fun. So I would not call this a friend. I've been here. I've been here so many fucking times. I'm not having fun. This is not a friendship. In the time I've known you, you've never called me up one time just to say hello. You've called me up because you need something from me. That's not a friendship. And I told her, I said, it's not your fault. You don't know better because our society is that fucked up. That we think friendship is, how do I use this person? Because that's the only way we're thinking. That's the only mindset we've got is how can I use this person? What value do they have to me? How can I be valuable to other people? Now you're getting into comparisons. Now you're getting into who's the most valuable human being. Fucking disgusting. And when I said to this person, you know, realistically, this is a working relationship. It's a business relationship. Immediately, this person launched into well, this is everything I've done for you. This is everything. And I said, just like a narcissist, just like a narcissist. Now you're trying to sell me. Now you're trying to sell yourself to me, trying to convince me of your value. I said, I never said I'm firing you. I never said you're cut out. That's not even a conversation. I'm just telling you we're not friends because I don't know you. And this isn't fun for me. This is work. And I'm just telling you, you need to be realistic about what this relationship is. Well, what is it? We need to perform. No, there is no word for this. This is nothing. It doesn't exist. I felt like I was dealing with a second grader. And afterward, I felt relieved and bad. I thought, was I too mean? What was I mean about? I told her the truth. I laid boundaries. This person had violated 7 boundaries. 3 of them I had already told her. So I'm looking at all of this and I'm analyzing why we've separated honesty with kindness. And it's because of narcissists. It's because narcissists want lies and they want you to be kind. And that's it. They want you to be easy target and also not honest. So we've been conditioned with this narcissist mindset of lie, keep the delusion, and be nice so I can take advantage of you easier. And I'm going against that. I know I am. Where I'm going, honesty is not about kindness. The real kindness and honesty is, I'm not going to let you have a delusion. I'm not going to allow you to have a delusion that's going to hurt you later. That's the real kindness with honesty. I'm not going to let you have a delusion. And that's really it. If you come at me with a delusion, I'm going to be realistic about it and break it. And I'm going to show you the truth. And the only hurt you're going to have is you thinking X when the situation is really Y. And this person, when they came into my life, they over cleaned, they over committed to the point where other people said, you don't know this person, she's a stranger and you need to back off. And I sat there and said, yeah, I agree with him. I agree with him. You need to back off. I'm a stranger. Please treat me like one. And it's the stories that were woven from that delusion, the stories that were absolutely woven. It's extraordinary. And it's gotten us to a point where when we do finally step up and say, I'm going to prioritize honesty and truth as that foundation to prevent any delusion that will cause you harm later. And, you know, and I'm experiencing for the first time in my life, actual friendship. And one of the things that hit me hard was, if this is friendship, then why the fuck am I settling for all that garbage? And I got to see a boundary I've never seen before, let alone used, where it was me stepping into the situation where I said, I am not available for questions. I'm not available for questions. I'm not. I'm not available for questions. I was told by other people that I had to be available for questions, and I'm not. And this is really what it comes down to is, and this brings me to my dream. I had a dream last night where I had a logical argument with a logician, and it was just me having a conversation with myself. And in the dream, I'm going, Anna, you know, this is just a personification of yourself. Yes, I know I'm having a logical argument with myself. It was weird. And they were drilling me. What is logic? Logic is argument. It's the science of argument and truth. And what is formal argument? Formal argument is one of the tools used for structuring truth. And what is a question? A question is the leader of the lead thread of research, of investigation. And if you want to know how to learn, study logic. Everything you need to know about learning is inside logic. If you want to know how to have a discussion, read logic. If you want to know how to problem solve, study logic. It's all inside of it. People think that logic is just proofs. And that is so fucking not true. That is like class 1 is proofs. And there's a whole 40-year study following proofs that people don't know. No one. No, their logicians don't exist today. I'm still trying to figure this one out. So in logic, you have Socratic method, you have definition, and then you have proof. And then after proof, you have formal argument and debate. After that, you have assessing variables, which is problem solving. You have metric, you have grouping, and you have basically validity. Validity is the science of confirming if something is accurate or not. And it's literally the breakdown of what is truth. All of this is problem solving. And all of this is how to have a discussion. And all of this is how to sort out liars versus truth. And with that, you get fallacies. So when you start breaking down all of these pieces and you start utilizing them, it literally is a purification process for truth. It is the science of the purifying of truth. And if you don't know how to do basic proofs, if you don't know how to do basic fallacies or premise, you're not going to be able to use it. So a lot of people have subscribed to the Narcissist Handbook for Life. And I don't subscribe to that book. I don't. And a lot of people have no fucking clue what narcissism is because they haven't studied logic. I want you to look up something on Wikipedia called List of Fallacies. Look them up. List of Fallacies on Wikipedia provides a list of every single fallacy in existence. All of them. And you're going to notice a common denominator in the list of fallacies. Every one of them is the narcissist's weapon. So every narcissist knows that what they really are doing is violating every logical law to get a fallacy. You're going to recognize most of them. Most people do most of them without even knowing it because they've been trained to think in fallacy. Which is why a logician is the only cure to narcissism, because we recognize the bullshit a million miles away, which is why narcissists don't like me. And when you say truth, when you break down what truth is and the science of fallacy, a narcissist can't work. A narcissist cannot be around me, which is why I tell the truth with sole deliberation of getting them away from me. So I'm ugly and I'm blunt and I'm aggressive with my truth because narcissists won't come around me, and they don't. It's extraordinary. They have about a 1 week shelf life with me before they go, oh, I need to get away. And boundaries are the next best thing. So tell the truth. That's the very first thing to get rid of narcissists. The second thing is the boundaries. You throw down the boundaries and they fall apart. They completely go nuts. They bounce off the walls. The more you decide to live true to logic, the more you become abuse-proof too. It's extraordinary. Just learn fuck logic. Just learn logic. And I'm sitting here, and here's the thing. A narcissist is skilled at making you feel like their emotions are your responsibility. That is the number one agenda, is my emotions are your problem. This is the go-to of all narcissists, whether or not they know it. We had one person in our group, and everybody eggshell walks around them. Everybody whispers and tiptoes. They say nothing. They tolerate. I don't. That lasted 2 weeks. And I'm like, no. And it's that question of, and the narcissist empath is the one who screams about this the most. Well, I'm allowed to be myself. Great. When you find yourself, let us know. In the meantime, you're just acting like your abuser. So we have a very open door policy with the Healing Garden. Anyone can come and go, but there's one rule. Your abuser and your assholes, stay out. You're not allowed to bring narcissism in. So when people come into the garden and they have narcissism, they stand out like a hot thumb. They light up like a Christmas tree. And then it's, you need to go take care of yourself. And they're aware of it. They take care of themselves. And once they're done taking care of themselves, they come back in. And the beautiful thing about it is we have this environment where everyone is literally capable of being honest and nurturing that honesty. It's very difficult. I'm tempted to do like truth circles or honest circles where everyone just practices telling the truth about what you really think of everybody. And it's, and this is it really right here, is people don't understand what confidence is. They really don't. And when you hear truth about yourself, there's nothing anyone can tell me that I already don't know about myself. I know I'm a bitch. I'm well aware. And every time someone is honest with me, wow, you really are. I know. I'm honest. I know. I speak the truth. And I present the logical argument if you want it. And then I go back and I get the premise and the sources if you want those too. Like, I know. You can't lie around me. You can't bullshit yourself around me. And the people who are in my circle can handle that. Or they want it and they're nourishing it. It's amazing how many people choose delusion and lie over the truth. It's extraordinary. And one of the things that you end up getting is reputation. You absolutely become reputable for being honest, being very truthful about something. And it's that concept of why. When I have a different definition of kindness, and I think that's really what this is a narcissist defines kindness like this, and I define it like this. Kindness to me is using your manners, not lying. Kindness to me is if you're not feeling like it's there is this thing we do where, let's say somebody acts like an asshole in the middle of the group and they make a fool of themselves. They make a fucking fool of themselves. And the narcissist thinks that kindness is saying nothing and letting them make a fool of themselves. Meanwhile, everybody gets to sit there, look at you and go, wow, that person's a real fucking fool. They're an asshole. And no one says anything. Afterwards, they all come around together. Did you see that? Wow, that person. And the gossip starts. And no one tells the fool, you know, you made an ass of yourself, right? Everyone got to see how much of a fucking asshole you are. Everyone got to see how ignorant and arrogant and just downright stupid you are. You should have kept your mouth shut. And because you didn't, everyone's laughing at you behind your back. Which is kind. In one instance, they keep doing it. They keep acting like a fucking asshole. People repel, people withdraw, people like, I'm just going to avoid that person. In the other instance, the person changes. The person gets information. The person becomes educated and goes, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Which is kind. So I'm like sitting down looking at the healing garden going, I won't tolerate a fool making a fool of themselves. I won't. I won't. If someone acts like a fucking asshole, I'm going to sit down and say, you acted like a fucking asshole. And people are withdrawing from you because your behavior is inappropriate. Because you're acting like a fucking asshole. And that's isolating you. So now you've got a choice. You can continue to do what you've been doing and everyone's isolating themselves. And if that's what you want, okay. But if you want to fit in, if you want people to like you genuinely, you got to clean up your act. Or maybe we're not the right people for you. Maybe we're not the right people for you. And it's a question of, and again, it's that, well, I'm just being myself. Great. As soon as you find who you are, let us know. Because a lot of people don't know who they are and they claim that. And I was in that group where no one judged, where everyone was allowed to be as weird as they were, and everyone was allowed to be mentally broken. And I'll tell you what I learned in that group. I learned that everyone enabled everybody. No one got better. I watched a lot of alcoholics return to alcoholism. That's what I got to watch. All those assholes who claimed that there was no judgment. Oh, what ended up happening was everyone spiraled back into their mental illness. I watched it deteriorate. Yeah. Delusion. At the end of the day, our behavior is a mirror of how mentally ill we are. And when you're in a group that's mentally healthy and not narcissistic, it's a, are we obligated to say something? And it's really, I'm reflecting on the work environment at the Healing Garden. That's what I'm doing. It's I'm analyzing the work environment at the Healing Garden. And we have a standard, this is the way we do it in the traditional office, and it's toxic. And that develops. And now I'm looking at the Healing Garden. We need to talk about this. I'm not going to allow this shit here. So I'm analyzing what that's going to look like, how we do it. I'm analyzing a lot. And it's interesting because truth is one of those things where, yeah, it's pretty brutal. Truth is one of those things that's really brutal. And it's so brutal because we're not used to it, because you have to break the delusion. And it's the recentering of the self where it needs to be. And then it's the, I'm going to treat people like they're fragile, like they'll break under truth. People don't break under truth. People do not break under truth. They get freed under truth. Narcissist handbook again. So I have much to think about today. Much to think about. Thank you. May the kindest of words always find you.